Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Jason with Reptile Parties here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and formerly of Animal Planet Scaled. And we got another cool video for you today during our time of social distancing via Zoom. Zoom's been so awesome. We've been actually doing Zoom visits to classrooms, to fans, to people who just love reptiles. We can also do it on Google Hangout. You can email us. The info's below on how to get yourself a virtual presentation or virtual conversation, depending on what we're doing. As well, we have our Patreon, so you can support us that way. Exclusive content like first look at these YouTube videos, animal care, activity sheets for the kids, memories from Scaled. We got a lot of content up there already that you can take a look at, and we're updating it constantly. So $3, $6, or $10 a month, and you can support us and our animals. All the money that's coming in, especially right now, that's going to help our animals. Between myself and my two staff that have animals themselves, we have over 250 animals in our care. And not being able to do in-person shows right now, it is challenging. We're not someone that wants to do a GoFundMe. There's nothing wrong with that, but you know, we enjoy working. We enjoy the ability to connect with people. So that is our way to bring money in to help our animals and help the company, as opposed to being like, we need a GoFundMe. So you get something for your dollar. Today we are going to talk about leopard geckos, and Kenzi is one of my best friends for ever. She's been up and down the roads with me through Canada, BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. We've been through a lot, and she has well, not as many reptiles as me, but she certainly tries. And we're going to bring her in now, and she is going to tell you about some adorable babies that she recently got. That is cute.
So this is one of the 3 little babies that we've recently gotten. This one, a little bit of a mouthful. It's a carrot head albino tangerine jungle morph. So there's a lot going on. Really, really bright in person. It's kind of hard to tell, but you kind of get the gist of it. So that's that guy. We also got this really cute one here. This one is a super galaxy. So he's pretty much completely white with a bunch of really tiny black spots in the center there. Pretty adorable. And then the last baby, my personal favorite, was sold to me as a mystery morph. The seller didn't know what it was, but I recently talked to an expert on leopard gecko morphs who said that he's probably, oh, what did he say? My goodness. Jungle snow albino. There we go. Kind of see his pattern there. Super cool looking.
You know how old they are?
A couple months, probably.
And so
Really
this is another animal that goes surprisingly fast, because this is what they come out of, which is both amazing that the interesting thing about reptile eggs is that they grow, and a lot of people don't realize that. So the egg that is laid will grow a little bit as the baby is developing. So it's still impressive. Like when you find eggs from a lot of reptiles, snakes, geckos, whatever, you're like, how did those come out of you? It's a pretty remarkable adaptation, but that is a
well
gecko
packed
egg.
in there.
And they fit in there. They have the yolk. They they grow up. And actually, what's interesting about the leopard geckos is the gender of the baby is temperature determined. So a few degrees warmer, it'll hatch sooner and probably be a boy. A few degrees cooler, it's going to take longer and probably be a girl. And so you will see that with people selling geckos, that they're too young to be able to tell the gender. They will sometimes have like incubated for female or incubated for male.
Yep.
So tell me a bit about the genetics of geckos, because you've shown us 3 different morphs. So how does that work?
Well, with leopard geckos, it's a little bit finicky because you can't fully determine it as well as something like a ball python. So their genetics are a little bit looser than that. So you can put together 2 leopard geckos that have a really cool pattern, say an albino with a jungle. and you should get some albino jungles. Have this really cool pattern with the like orangish albino color. With leopard geckos, it's a little bit more to chance. So it's not 100% that you're going to get exactly a combination of the two. But it's basically just pairing certain traits. So with the morph, it's basically just a different color or pattern. So this guy, he's got the really cool jungle pattern. You can kind of see he doesn't have the spots or bands. It's just a really kind of squiggly line. So when I breed him or her, don't know if it's a male or female yet, I should be getting a lot of offspring that have that kind of squiggly pattern. So kind of just, it's not 100% with leopard geckos, unfortunately, but you're going to get something like the one that had a lot of names in it, the carrot head albino tangerine jungle. Its parents were just a combination of all of those 5 things. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of like Christmas when the eggs hatch. You kind of just get to see, oh, what came out of this. So
now they don't get huge, but this is an adult. So leopard geckos do get the name because of their color pattern, and naturally it's yellow and black, but obviously with the different genetics and different morphs, they're coming out in all sorts of different colors. But the tail is important. They store fat there, so everything they eat stays in their tail, so that's why you can tell, or that's how you can, words are hard. So they store fat in the tail. They can live off that for up to a month in times of famine where they can't find any food. They just get thinner and thinner. And also, why else is a tail important, Kenzi?
Well, as you can kind of sort of see with this one, they can use their tail as a defensive purpose. So they can drop their tail off. Usually it's right around the middle of their tail. You can kind of see where my finger is there. So they can drop it off. It'll twitch around for sometimes up to like half an hour. It'll just distract a predator that's chasing after them, trying to eat them. And they will regenerate it after. It does take quite a while. It takes a lot of energy to regenerate that, but they can regenerate it. The new tail that they do grow does look a little bit different. So normally she would have these ridges all the way down to the tip of her tail, but the regenerated part is really smooth, and it's actually a different color and pattern than the rest of her body. So it kind of looks like somebody just glued a new tail onto her. So it's definitely not ideal. You don't want your leopard gecko to drop its tail. It is very stressful. But if it does happen, it's definitely not the end of the world. They will regrow it, unlike crested geckos who don't regrow their tails. But they will regrow them, and they'll continue to store fat in them. She was a surrender to me, along with another one. Both of them had regenerated tails. They were kept together in a 5-gallon tank for pretty much their entire lives. I almost cried when I went and saw them. They were also kept on black sand. So they were very dirty and dusty. They didn't have any water when I got to them. Their tails were about half the thickness. They're very, very, very thin. So I've gotten them to plump up a bit. They are much happier. They're much brighter now. They used to be really, really dull when I got them. They were quite stressed out. So now they're in a much larger enclosure. They're separated, and they are doing much better. So, yeah.
That's one of the things a lot of people don't realize. You'll see people being like, my gecko needs a friend, or my bearded dragon needs a friend, or snake. No, these are solitary animals. There's some exceptions, but for the most part, reptiles should be housed individually. They don't, if you get 2 boys, they're going to fight. Even 2 girls can fight. So boys and girls will breed, which is very taxing on the females. So all things need to think about if you want multiple geckos. And, with the tail loss, they do take a big risk in the wild because they drop their tail and they can't find food, they can starve. So it's not something that they take lightly, or they're just like, boom, tail, because I feel like it. But I have kids that'll ask like why they drop their tail, and I just sort of go, if I had a hamburger on the table and I was running away from you with a different hamburger, would you continue to spend the energy to chase me and get the burger from me, or would you eat the one on the table? And that's kind of the idea, is that it'll either distract the predator who will go, what just happened? Or they'll go, hey, food, and give them a precious few seconds to find somewhere to hide and run away.
And that could be life or death for them. So it's definitely very important. And since they don't drop it, the entire tail most of the time. They usually only drop half of it. They still do have some of that fat store left, so it's not like they're going to starve. They do preserve some of it for the most part, but
they're also putting the energy into trying to regrow too. So
exactly, yeah. My other leopard gecko, the one that she was rescued with, she dropped her tail almost at the base. It was 2 ridges down, so she lost almost all her tail. So she has a really stubby fat tail now. It's kind of cute.
Actually look kind of like their head when they regrow.
Yeah, yep. Kind of
Awesome.
looks like a little alien.
Well, thank you so much, Kenzi, and your leopard geckos. We'll definitely be doing more of these. Hopefully in person soon enough. We can hang out and spend some time talking about reptiles in person as opposed to over Zoom. But in the meantime, guys, again, make sure you check out all the information down below. Make sure you check out our other videos, and don't forget to subscribe, to comment, to like us, and get all the info on our Patreon and our in-person video chats, live in person, right for you on your computer screen, all down below. Thank you so much, guys, and we will see you next time.